Must be I was muted a few times already.
There you go. Okay, so we have some catching up to do. Shouldn't be too difficult to catch up. Ubavad, so we're mamish halfway down Chaf Gimel base. So Ubavad a kesef mishal acherim. So he said, according to the Chachamim, a Eved can buy himself back, but he can't buy himself back with his own money because whatever an Eved is kinda goes to his master. So yeah, he's got to be kind. He's got to be kind himself with money that's given to him from somebody else, right? So name and Balkam Mitzvah, and Rameir obviously holds not like that, right? Rameir holds he can't even be paid himself even with money from somebody else. So again, Rameir holds he can't be paid himself even when he can't be paid himself even with money from somebody else. And Chacham hold he can, right? So then the Rameir Savar ain't kinning le'eved v'lo rabbi. There's no kinyan to an eved without his rabbi. Meaning, meaning this, that we have to make this clear. Masha Konsa, Eved Konsa Rabbi is pashut according to everybody. Whatever, right? That's not a machlokes. What an Eved gets goes to his master. Right? Had a lady today who said that my husband's Meiser account is up to date. My Meiser account is not up to date. Is it one? Is it two? I said to her, my friend, all your money belongs to your husband. So it's one big account. There's no two separate accounts here. Your money.
How'd she take that?
If Baruch Hashem was in a text and I didn't hear anything, I wasn't able to hear anything crashing against the walls from the kitchen or whatever.
Tzviakov, her husband would beg to differ.
That's probably true, but at the end of the day, it's not even pashut that a woman is allowed to give tzedakah. A woman's really not allowed to give tzedakah. It's not her money to give. Not her money to give, right? So whatever it is, everybody agrees to that yesod. The shaila is here, can somebody give money to the Eved or to the wife and say, it's not for your husband or not for your master, right? Right? That's really the shaila. So the Rameir Zara ain't kinyan le'eved v'lo rabbi. There's no kinyan, it still goes to the master. Ain't kinyan le'isha v'lo baila. And the woman doesn't get it either, it goes to the husband. So Mamela, there's no way for him to be kind himself with kesef, because any kesef he gets goes automatically to his master. For Rabbanan Tzavi, yesh kinyan le'eved v'lo rabbi. There is a kinyan. He could be kind without going to his master. So that's the Gemara's first pshat. But the Gemara doesn't like that. So Amar Rabba, Amar Rav Sheshes, Tekula Yama, ain't kinyan le'eved v'lo rabbi. Everybody holds there's no kinyan to an eved without his master, and ve'ain kinyan le'isha b'lo baila, and there's no kinyan to an isha without her husband. But meaning basically, even if you give them a present with the intention that it should stay by them, it goes to the boss. So what are we talking about here? Somebody gave a mana to the slave. And he said, I'm only giving it to you on condition that it doesn't go to your master. Right? So Rameir Savaki Amalei Kani, when he said to him, Kani Eved, Vikani Rabbi, so what happens is it doesn't work. Because yes, the slave gets it, but the master also gets it. Meaning they both get it. And when he says almanas, it means nothing. Meaning when he basically, again, the terminology that was used, he says, I'm being makneh to you, almanas, that your master doesn't have it. So once he says the word of being makneh to you, so they're both kainet. Right? Once they're both kind of it, then the almanas doesn't work, right? So that's the way Rameir looks at it. But Rabbanan Sabri.
1 second, so 1 second. Would the rabbi be kind at that point?
Who?
Would the rabbi be kind?
That's exactly what Rameir is holding.
I was only marked at you almanas that you could be kind of. The Tanai's bottle and the rest of the mice is kind.
No, it seems like the Kinyan happens first and then the Tanai.
Why? The Tanai, the Tanai is kind of a Maisa. It's always, that's the way Tanai work. Make it tasty for the Maisa to be Kayim without the Tanai.
Right. Yeah, so basically the pshat is, I think, is that written in the bylaws of slaves is whatever the slave gets goes automatically to the Baal.
Then the Tanai, it doesn't work. Like what? Why? I'm not understanding. It's one thing if it's stomach. So stomach, you can't assume one way or another. But if I make a Tanai and it doesn't work, so that's the way all Tanai work. Why should this be any different than any of the Tanai in the Torah? I understand when you're being Iker Doverman on Torah, but I made a Tanai. Is this being Iker Doverman on Torah?
I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's to that extent.
So then why should the Maisik be Kaim? It's a good Tanai.
Right. So we're saying that the Tanai doesn't work to take the Kinyan out from the. Again, I can't say I understand this, Claude. It doesn't, meaning whenever the Eved gets something, his Baal is automatically part of it. Memela, since his Baal is automatically part of it, that Almanas is not strong enough to take him out. That's basically I understand it, but again, it's difficult to understand. Right? But it's with the Rabbanan, meaning you're saying pshat like the Rabbanan.
No, the Rabbanan are saying that you couldn't make it tonight. There's makom. There is makom for the Eved to be kind of by himself. That's the Rabbanan have to hold that way.
Right, but look at Rashi. Rashi says the make according to let's see, Rabbanan Savikim Amalei Almanas Ahani late tonight. Since he said it's on condition, then the Tanai helps him. The Meikara Adaita the Tanakh Akne. He from the beginning, it was all based on the das of the Tanai. Right? So since it was not, it basically it's what is the basic din of an Eved together with the master? Is he automatically considered involved or not? Right? Yeah. Anyways, okay, it's hard to understand, but that's what the Gemara thinks. So Rebbe Lazar, let's see, Rebbe Lazar Amar. I mean, that's the way we want to say the machlokes is now. Even if giving it almanas, Rameir holds almanas works, and the Rabbanan hold it does not work. Rebbe Lazar Amar, Kol ki hagavna dekuli amaloi pligi dekoni eved bekoni rabbi. Everybody holds that the eved is koina and the master is koina, right? Which is not, which is the hard part. And that's like Rameir. Right? Where somebody else gave him a mana, and he said that I'm giving you this money on the condition that you go out free. I mean, it's a little different than before. Before, he was almanas that the master doesn't get it. This one is almanas that he goes free. So Rameir Savakiyam like Kani Eved Kani Rabbi, same thing that he said before. They're both kaina. Like Klum Kamale, he didn't say anything. Rabbanan Savri Lididei Nami Holoi Kamakni Le. Right? He's not really giving it to him. The Holoi Amrle Ella Amanasha Tetsi by Lecherus. Because he only told him that it's on condition that he goes out for Cherus. Right? Meaning he's only giving the money on condition that the guy goes out. If the guy doesn't go out, then the matana is not a matana. So Mamela, that's what he's saying, that it's okay. Right? According to the Chachamim, then that's okay. Okay? Fine. Now again, the difference between this pshat and the previous pshat is this pshat is that the Tanai was that it only gets given to the Eved if the Eved goes free. Fine. Okay, that's the hard part of the Gemara. So anyways, what the Gemara is essentially saying is that Rameir holds that you cannot, the money always goes to the master, and the Chachamim hold that it does not. Fine. So the Gemara asks on the bottom line of Rami de Rameir, Rami de Rabbanon. We can have a steerer from Rameir to Rameir. We can have a steer from the Rabbanon to Rabbanon. The Tanya, now we start today's daf. Ein isha haida ma'isa sheni b'loy chaimish. A woman cannot be paid the Ma'aser Sheni without giving a chaimish. Now the din of Ma'aser Sheni, right? We know Ma'aser Sheni is that you have to take a 10% of your crop, bring it up to Yerushalayim, and eat it in Yerushalayim. Right? Now, many times if you have a lot of fruits, then it's very difficult to bring it up to Yerushalayim. So basically what you do is you paida your fruit onto money. Right? So if the din is you're allowed to do that, and you can take all your fruit and put it onto, let's say, $1 or $10, whatever the worth is, then you take that dollar up to Yerushalayim and then you eat it. Now, if you do this with your own money, then you have to add, you have a what's it called? A 20%, really comes out to be 25% tax. I don't know, it's a tax, whatever, it's a service fee, whatever you want to call it.
25% tax on what? Because from what you just said, you could put $1,000 worth of fruit onto $1.
No, I meant $1 if it's worth $1. It's got to be the worth. It's got to be the same worth.
Oh, so if you have $1,000 worth of fruit, you have to put it onto $1,000, and then add a chaimish, and then add a chaimish.
Yes.
Gershon is shaking his head like I don't know what I said wrong.
You add a fifth. You add a fifth. Yes, you add a fifth to whatever it is.
But but if you have $1,000 worth of fruit, you have to redeem it onto $1,000 plus a fifth.
Correct.
Okay, fine. Okay.
But that's only if you're doing the redeeming. If I do the redeeming from you, then I don't have to. Meaning, if you come to me and say, "Hey, listen, take all my fruit, right, and give me a few dollars, whatever, give me whatever it's worth," and you do it with somebody else, then that's fine. Then you don't have to add a fifth.
So why would anybody do it himself?
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have friends.
I don't understand what you're doing. You have this Ma'aser Sheni fruit, and you're selling it to your friend?
Yes.
And he gets to eat it like regular food, and you have to take that money and go to Yerushalayim with it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? So anyway, so the question is, that's the din. That's the basic din. Right? When you paid it, when somebody else is paid this, somebody else is Ma'aser Sheni, right? Reuven is paid this, Shimon's Ma'aser Sheni, he does not have to add the fifth. When Reuven does it to himself, he does have to. Now, what happens if Reuven's wife is doing it? Is she considered part of Reuven's property, in which case she has to add a fifth? Or does she not? Meaning, if she has her own money somewhere, somehow, and she's going to do it for her husband, she's going to be part of her husband, is she considered part of her husband's house, in which case she has to add a fifth? Or do we say, no, she's a separate entity, and she doesn't have to add a fifth, right? Which would be the same case as our same Shiloh we're asking here with the Eved. Right? Is there a possibility for an Eved to have money independent of his master? So is it possible for a woman to have money independent of her husband? Right? So the Gemara here says, Ein Isha Paida Ma'aser Sheni B'loi Chaimish. She can't do it out of Chaimish, meaning, according to the Tanakama, she's considered part of her husband's house. He says the woman does not have to add a chaimish, so therefore she's considered like she's not. Now that's going to be the opposite of what we just learned. We just learned that a mayor holds that a Eved cannot be paid himself, which means that his money is always considered part of his master. And here he's saying that the woman could have money, so that's going to be the stira, and the Rabbanan is the other way. So now, Hechidami, what's the case? Even Bazuzi the Baal or Meiser the Baal. What are we talking about? She's being paid the fruits with the money of her husband, and the Meiser belongs to her husband too. Shlichusei the Balka of this, and all she is a shliach for her Baal. So of course she has to add a fifth. Must be talking about her own money and his Meiser. So Ish Omer Achmana, it says a man and doesn't say Isha. Right? So then she doesn't have to, because again, it's talking about her money and his meiser. So then we have a diak in the pasuk, Isha, not Isha. Right? Elalav, Kia Gavna. So what must be the case? Ta'akni lo achar mana. Right? Somebody else gave her a mana. For Amar la amanasha tifti bayas a meiser, and said, I'm only giving you this money on condition that you're paida your husband's meiser. and then we say the machlokes, right? We heard the opposite of what we said before, meaning in the case of the Tanai by the Eved, Rameir said it doesn't work, and the Chacham said it works, and here the Chachamim say it works, and therefore she has to give a fifth because she's considered a separate entity, and Rameir holds no, it doesn't work, right? And Mamela, it then she could do it without the chaimish. I'm sorry. Did I say it the wrong way? Chachamim say that she has to add a fifth because she's considered still the tonight doesn't work. Right? I'm sorry. The Chachamim hold the tonight does not work, therefore she has to add a fifth because she's still part of her husband's house. And Rameir holds that tonight does work, and therefore she doesn't have to add a fifth because that money is considered independently hers. Because the guy that gave it said he's only giving it on condition that she could be paid to the Ma'aser Sheni, right? So it's a stira. So if Shamanale, so covered parrots, Amar Abaya, Epa. So Abaya said, switch it. That's all. Very simple. Just swap it. Now, which one do you want to swap? Who knows? But you're going to switch one of them, and therefore there's no stira. Rava says, Lo'ilam loy tepach. Really, you're not going to switch it. We're talking about meiser that comes from Bein Nosha. Bein Nosha means from a Yerusha. Right? If anybody was ever zoiche to be involved with a ksuba, in a normal ksuba, it says the girl brings in mibei avua from her father's house. If she's a Yesaima, then it says mibei Nosha. Right? Unfortunately, I had a lot of experience with ksubas like this. Sign my own and sign my siblings, right? So that's nosha because you can't bring me bei avua because he's not alive, right? So it has to be me bei nosha, which means from a Yerusha. So here we're talking about where her father died, and she yarshined his money, and she also yarshined his ma'aser sheni. Now, ultimately, a Yerusha becomes a nichse milug. And you end up doing is you sell the fruits, you buy a field, and then the husband gets to use the field, right? But what's with the meiser? What happens with that, right? So now, we're talking about meiser that came from as an inheritance. But meiser mammon hektish, and Rameir holds a meiser is mammon hektish. Meiser does not belong to a person. Right, we're going to see later on in the Masechta, can a man be, meaning normally, how can he say Ma'aser Sheni doesn't belong to somebody? He's allowed to eat it, right? He just brings it to Yerushalayim and eats it. So why can't he go to Yerushalayim and take the fruit and marry a woman with it? But that the Gemara says later, Rameir holds you cannot do that because it's not, even though you're allowed to eat it, but it still belongs to Hashem. So he says, Ma'aser Mammon Hektishu, the loy koni lebal, and therefore since it's Mammon Hektish, the husband is not kainet. And since the husband's not kainet, so basically, and now she's being paided. So basically, she's being paided meiser that doesn't belong to her husband with the money from her husband. So Mamela, according to Rameir, that's two different people. You don't have to add a fifth. Rabbanon Latamai, but Rabbanon hold the Amri Mammon Hedjit. They hold meiser sheni is considered Mammon Hedjit, and the man is allowed to benefit from it. The Kani le Baal, and the Baal Memela, since it's regular Mammon Hedjit, the husband is Kaine through the Yerusha, right? Hilkach Shlichus of the Baal Kavda. She's doing the Shlichus of the Baal, and therefore she does have to add a fifth. So ultimately, the way Rav is understanding that there's no stira is because the case of Meiser is not where somebody gave the woman money on a Tanai. The case is talking about where she yarshin the money. So now, normally when a woman yarshins, it goes to her husband also. But here she yarshin ma'aser sheni, right? So Rameir holds that ma'aser sheni stays in Hashem's, it stays Hashem's. Rameir, the husband doesn't get to keep it, right? And therefore, when she's paid it, it's two separate accounts. It's Hashem's account and it's the husband's account. So therefore, since it's two separate accounts, therefore you don't have to add a fifth. But
isn't it Nifsei Maluk?
Well, it is Nifsei Maluk. 1 second. So the Chachamim hold that no, Meiser does belong to the man. So therefore he yashins it, and then when she's paid it, it's being paid from the same account, therefore a fifth needs to be added. What are you saying? What are you saying, Akiva?
If it's necessary for and she's being paid it, isn't it? And it's hers. Is she being paid to her stuff through who's being paid from who?
She's being paid with his money, the Maisa Sheni that she yashin. That's why I understand it. Right? You mean it sounds like it's switched?
Yeah.
It sounds like the scenario switched. Before it was her money being paid to his fruit. Now it's her fruit with his money. That's what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
But before we said the exact opposite. That would be considered being paid to.
It's still the main point is that it's two different accounts doing the pigeon. That's the main point here. Yeah, you're right. In the first way, she's giving the money and he's giving the fruit. And this way, it's her giving the fruit and he's giving the money. Yeah. But essentially, the main point is that there's two separate accounts. That's the way I understand it. Fine. Okay, now if you see that massive Taisus, Naftali, you want to do the Taisus?
Whatever you want.
Anyways, the Taisus, no, I don't get anybody think that I did the whole Taisus. I did not.
I don't even see the Taisus. Where does it start?
What do you mean? On the Amud base, in the previous Amud.
It's the
right?
Okay.
So this whole din of whether this whole concept of being
why not? We have sleepers next week anyway, so let's do more stuff we don't understand.
Yaakov, I have veto power on Naftali.
Okay, Kayin wins. Anyways, well, just meaning that whole thesis is about whether we paskin that you can give somebody money but a tanai. Meaning, can you give somebody something and tell them with a tanai? Right? Unfortunately, it's coming up a lot now. I get these.
What do you mean, lulav and esrog?
That's a tanai. That's a tanai to borrow it back. That's a tanai. That's a matana manas lahafsir. That just works either way. No, but can a girl go to seminary, right? When they tell her, listen, we're letting you come to the seminary if you promise not to go on the internet, does she have to, meaning I'm accepting a present from you, but I can only use it in a certain way? Meaning, can I give you a present and say you can only use it for A, B, and C?
Didn't we learn a few weeks ago that you could divorce a lady if she doesn't marry or can't marry one other person or something? That's a t'nai.
I don't know. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
We had in Gittin. Didn't we have in Gittin at the end of Gittin that you could divorce a lady, but she can't marry one person?
Yes.
Condition.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You're giving her something on a t'nai, giving her a get on a t'nai.
No, there you're not giving it to her if she doesn't meet this thing. Here you're giving a present and saying you can only use it in this in A, B, and C.
Two different things, Rabbi. One is strings attached. One is strings attached. The other one is not strings attached. Strings attached in a get is not going to work ever.
Correct, because it has to be a full creases.
Correct.
Right. But now the shaila is, can you give somebody something in a tanai, Naftali, right? Meaning, this comes up with you buy in the old days nobody buys CDs anymore, but in the old days when you bought a CD, right? The tapes and the CDs, and they write, we're only selling it to you al tanai that you don't copy it.
Your father said that you can go buy the tape, copy, and then return it.
What's the tanai by the seminary, that they're accepting you?
The tanai that they're only accepting you.
The gift is that they're accepting you?
No, I don't know exactly how to fit it in.
I think you're doing them a favor, Yaakov.
That's what I'm saying.
The transaction.
We'll let you pay full tuition. We'll let you pay full tuition if you don't go on the internet.
No, but let's say the other way around. Let's say the person goes on the internet. So that now they throw the girl out. Now she says, give me back my money. They said, no. We only took you on the Tanai that you listened to. We only, whatever. I only gave you the money on the Tanai.
Why is that just by seminary and not by every school? That there are a lot of schools that have those policies.
And economy. So that's the same type of shaila. Can you go accepting people with a Tanai that they're going to do A, B, and C? Or I don't mean so much accepting, but can you give things to people and tell them it's tonight?
I thought we had said like with Gabi internet that we just assume people don't keep it. Now, didn't we say that like schools don't want back in the day? School didn't want people going on to use TVs. Everyone signed the paper, but everyone knew there was a bunch of baloney.
Well, okay, so then that's a different shot.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have a school.
I don't understand. What's the problem? Why can't you make it tonight? Why I can give you my car? You can't drive it.
Why do you say it's a tonight and not a rule? You can make a rule.
You're not giving it tonight. Then you just borrow.
Why can't
I'm giving you my
car? I'm
giving you my car. You're gonna own it. I'm giving you my car. I'm not lending it. I'm giving you my car, but you can't drive in Jersey.
All right, that's the question. Can you do that?
What's the problem?
What's the problem? It's either mine or it's yours. It's not both. That's the shaila.
I'm giving it's not a get where the safer crease is written. There's no safer creases where I have to cut everything off. I'm giving it to you, but
Rabbi Sugya is an Ezekiel Sugya, which is borrowing a donkey and you don't want it to go through a certain river.
That's borrowing.
That you make the condition not to
that's only borrowing. That's it built into what people expect. That's a daite shel bnei adam when it comes to borrowing. When you're making a kinyan, you can make up any crazy tanai you want, and people have to go bust it. There's nothing to do with borrowing. If you want to be kind of something from me, there are rules. If I go through the proper channels of setting up a tanai, that's it. You can't tell me no. Well, normal people don't do it that way. Well, I don't care what normal people do. I have different conditions.
Right.
The question is if you can do that or not. You can't tell me that I can't drive my car in New Jersey. So when you give me
if I'm selling you the car, why can't I say that? Then don't buy the car.
Because it's my car.
I'm giving you a better price. But I'm selling it to you on that condition.
No. Naftali, no. You skipped a step. It's like with my car itself. You can't tell me that I can't drive my car in New Jersey.
Correct. If I have nothing to do with you buying the car, I can't walk over to you today and say you can't drive your car. But if you're coming to me to buy a car,
why not?
Because it has nothing to do with it. It's not mine.
Okay,
nothing to do with
it's mine.
But if I'm selling you
when
something,
I buy a car from you, right?
and and I want to give you a better price on a condition.
You can speak till you blue in the face before I buy it. Once I buy it, it's mine.
No,
I don't hear it. I hear that I'm putting a stipulation into the beginning. I'm not coming to you now and saying what you can do with your car. I'm putting a stipulation right now before you get the car. Don't buy the car. Don't buy it if you want the stipulation.
Well,
don't take it.
You can tell me that too. But once I buy it, I buy it.
Okay, so I don't hear that. I hear.
Okay, so Naftali, that's the machlokes. Can you give money to an eved on a t'nai that his boss doesn't get it, or you're only giving it to him on a t'nai that he's going to use that money? The boss will allow that money to use and to be paid. Can you do something like that?
Didn't we say last night something with giving something to an eved with the same master? You can't. You give it to someone a different master. Does that play in here in the svaras? That was last night.
Yeah, that's part. Well, that's all part of the same sugya. That has to be a different master, not his own.
To help Naftali understand it a little bit better, if I sell you something on a condition that you cannot use it, that you basically bought only 90% of that car, the other 10% cannot be used. That's all what I sold you.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So is that a sale? Is that a sale? It's not a sale.
That's what I agreed to. That's what you agreed to.
It's done on a daily basis.
How?
Yaakov, I've seen it in real estate deals. There's a stipulation that you can't make a change to the building or to the they do it. There are ways to do it.
Yeah, I don't know in halacha. That's okay. Hence the long
there's no flip clauses in real estate. That's got to be part of this. They have no flip clauses when you buy the property.
They do have flip clauses in real estate, sure.
They have no flip clauses.
They do.
Are you asking from legal to halacha? What exactly are you asking here?
No, it's just
well, Jews are the ones buying the real estate, so there has to be some halacha involved.
All right.
How about there's any halacha involved?
All right, I'm being quiet. I allowed him
to you're getting muted.
If parents were here, he'd say Viter.
Yes, he would.
Exactly.
Yes, he would. Peretz
said Viter 10 minutes ago.
Peretz actually texted me right before the daf. he said, well, he says 45 minutes in, still on Omar Aleph, and then he sees 8 minutes left for the daf. He's like, oh, he doesn't know which is more geschmack, which is more annoying, which is more geschmack. Right, because we only did half of Amud Beis yesterday. Anyways, okay, fine. So now, Reb Shmuel, you got an answer for us on this next Gemara?
I'm waiting for you to get there.
Okay, good. Okay, so Tana. Yeah, we're on 2 dots now, about 7-8 lines up. So Tana. Right, so we said that an Eved, it's a Gzeres HaKasuv, that if an Eved loses his teeth or loses his eye, or any of the Rashi Ivarim that don't come back, right? Meaning if they get cut off, let's say, then he goes free. So Bishlam Shein Va'ayin Ksivi. Shein Va'ayin, it says Beferish in the Torah. El Rashi Ivarim, what about all the ends of the Ivarim? So we say Dumi the Shein Va'ayin. Ma Shein Va'ayin Mumen Shabagoloi Ve'ein and Chayzrin. So Shein and Ayin, what are they? They're revealed, meaning they're on the outside of the body, and they're not going to come back. Meaning, if somebody loses his eye, his eye's not coming back, and the tooth falls out, it's not coming back. Afkol minu shabagoloi vein and chayzin. So any type of mum that is on a part of a limb that's on the outside of the body, and it's not going to come back. Yeah. So now the question becomes, it's really on Amud Beis, but we don't want to require Reb Shmuel Brosman to stay on the whole daf, right? But nowadays, we do have technology where you could put that tooth back in, right? Eyes, I don't know about. But a tooth can go back in. Or if Chas v'Shalom, somebody loses a limb, they could sew it back on. Does the Eved go free? Does the Eved not go free? Meaning, does medical technology change this din? Or do we say, no, the Pasuk said, you lost the limb, he lost the limb. Oh, you go to the hospital and put it right back on.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
We have Avadim now?
It's not the same.
You can have an Eved Kanani today.
Well, you could have an Eved Kanani.
Anyone has one?
We're not in the Confederate States of America.
You can have halachic.
But does anyone have one? Today. Does anyone have one?
What's a Gwila of Shmuel? He joined us to help us. He did research on this. Let him talk for a minute. Otherwise, he's going to talk louder than all of you.
No.
I thought they had the mute button over there.
Hey, go ahead, Shmuel. Go ahead.
Unanimously, from all the Rabbonim that I spoke today in Israel who are in the medical field, if you are Mesame Eino or Shino or one of the 24 Evarim, it has nothing to do with your ability to be able to fix it. Fact of the matter that you sima emno yotzel chovshi.
Even if it can be fixed.
Even if you can fix it, correct.
Okay, so they're saying we don't, like you were saying this last night, right? That's meaning we don't care.
I was saying it based on my own learning, but I did not. Now I have the everyone that I spoke to who is in the medical field.
Right. And they all said it's not
without any exception. I spoke to the Dayan of Vishnitz, I spoke to Rav Osher, I spoke to Rav Carmel, I spoke to Rav Yaron, I spoke to just about 8 Rabbonim today.
All Did you work today? Field. Did you work today?
But Siakam, isn't there like a Gemara in I forgot where it is? It's that once the Matthias has changed, that when it comes to Nida Shilas, there's a whole like the Matthias Adam changed, so therefore certain things changed in all of them.
Right. No, that's true.
So but if the Matthias changes inside how we're able to deal with things. It has
nothing to do with the Matthias change. It has to do with the fact that you damaged something which is Rashi Evarim.
I understand that, but the whole Mamet scene was based on the idea of Ein and Chayzer.
No.
Well, I'm reading the Gemara. How do you touch the Gemara then?
Oh, they made a dummy into all the other.
How can you create a Mamet scene that's not true?
Why?
It's not Chayzer.
You're saying it's laved off in the Mamet scene.
Akiva, it's not Chayzer.
I haven't grown my leg back. If you reattach it, if you're able to reattach it and it has the full functionality,
reattaching
is that considered
when you get a
There's
new
a
finger
difference
growing
between
back, it's
Machzir and
Chayzer.
Chayzer.
So
Right.
then, in a case like that, would it be considered? Would you be able to go free if you reattach it and it has full functionality?
No, that's
No.
what they're saying. No, that's what the place. That's what Shmuel is saying, that it doesn't apply because it's
Are
once
you
it's
free or
off, it's
not?
off. Once it's off,
It's back to full functionality.
don't make a difference. It's once it came off, it came
So
off.
I'm asking. All you said was the maskana. You didn't explain how you got to the maskana.
Because it's different than the Metzias changed. If the body changed, that's one thing. That's not what happened here. Meaning the Metzias changing would be, according to what you're trying to say, I think, would be is if you punch an Eved in the eye. And according to the way the old bodies work, that eye would have fallen out. But because something changed about human bodies, Memela, that eye didn't fall out, then I would say, like you're saying, and the bottom line is that the Metzias changed, and for whatever reason, his eye did not fall out.
Very nice, Rabbi.
Yeah, you ask him?
Very nice, Rabbi.
Okay, good. Thank you. You hear what I'm saying, Akiva?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. You have to explain that something that could reject. You don't want to call it regenerate, but you could put it back to functionality.
Correct, but once it's off, you're done. That's it.
Why? That's what
because that's what it says in the Torah. That's what the Torah says.
The Torah is saying back in the day, you couldn't. Once it was out, you were done. There's no way that you could replace it, because back then they couldn't replace it.
I don't know if that's so true.
No.
And he brought it back to life. So you see that it's possible to bring it back to life. What's the big deal with a finger or an eye? The Rav was able to bring Reb Zera back after Shkita. So because we don't have the technology they had back then, or whatever it is.
Rachamim, Slicha. I want to there's an important point because of that. The way to understand it is because Avodim, in order to show that he is an Eved, they used to cut off his finger. They used to cut off so it shows that he is an Eved. And that is exactly what the Torah does not want you to do, is to cut off one of his limbs to show that he is an Eved. That's exactly the opposite the way you think.
And you don't want to.
That's exactly what the Torah. If you do something like that, then you have to send him free. He's no longer your Eved.
So you're giving a Tom.
That's exactly what Akiva has a problem with.
Tom for the mitzvah. You're giving Tom for the mitzvah.
I know we're going down this rabbit hole. Masking Gershon, and I'm gonna leave it. Yes, exactly. We're if you start giving Tom, then it only goes worse, not better. So let's go weiter.
I don't know. Shmuel, who says this? Who says this? Shmuel, who says this?
On what?
The reason that for this, what you're saying just now with the
that's a fact. That's the way they kept avodim. In fact, he went as far as telling me that is fascinating. We do a brace in order to show that we are an Eved to the Rabbeinu Shalom, and that's why we get the name there.
Slicha, Shmuel. If that's the case, we didn't need the mitzvah in the Torah. Your Savara says, well, I don't need the mitzvah in the Torah. The Torah gave me the mitzvah, but you're saying I don't need the mitzvah in the Torah because I got this great Savara that you have.
And that I'll allow Rav Stein to deal on his own. That's a much larger topic.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Matana. You gave me a matana with a t'nai or not?
No conditions attached.
Okay. Very good. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Let's go weiter. Yeah. Okay. So Ve'ema, 4 lines up from the bottom. So again, we're learning out Shane. We're learning all the other Rashi Evarim from Shane V'ayin. So now the Gemara asks, Ve'ema, Nahavi Shane V'ayin, Kishnei Ksuma B'ayin Ka'echad. We know there's a rule that when you have Shane and Ayin, meaning when you have 2 different dinim, why can't you just learn one din and learn everything out from that one din? So by saying it twice, it means only those specific cases and nothing else. So why is it saying that if you bust the eyes of the Eved, he goes out, One, and then you have to say, and if you bust the teeth, just say one, and you'll learn everything out from it. Elamai must be that the reason why he's saying two is because specific those two, nothing else. Right? So so my answer is no, tzricha, you do need both. The ikas of Rahman Hashem, if the Torah would have just written tooth, havamina afilu antom beis now afilu shein de cholav, even the tooth of milk, meaning the what do you call it? A child's tooth. Where's Harold? Harold's not on. That's what's called a child's tooth, baby tooth. That's what it is. You would think it's a baby tooth. It's called Rahmana ayin. That's what the Torah wrote ayin, meaning that a baby tooth does not work. If you have a baby, if for whatever reason the Eved has a baby tooth and it gets knocked out, since that's not one of the permanent teeth, it doesn't count. Because Rahmana ayin, if the Torah would have written ayin havamina ma ayin shenivra ima, an ayin he gets created with an eye. So if he loses that, excuse me, then he goes free. Af kol shenivra imay. So and anything else that was created with him, aval shein loy. But a tooth, nobody's born with teeth. At least most people are not born with teeth. So maybe you're not gonna, the evid's not gonna go out. So tzricha, therefore, we need to say both the shein and va'ayin to tell you these specific dinim. Okay, now the Gemara says ve'ema ki yake klal. It says if you hit the eved, that's a klal. It doesn't say where you hit him, what you hit. It just says if you hit him. Then it's shein va'ayin prat. Then it says shein va'ayin specifically if you hit the tooth or the eye. Klalu prat. We know that there's something called a klal, and then it's a prat. Ein bechlal elamasha beprat. That's and the rule only applies to the prat, meaning to the specifics. So even though the rule was if you hit him, the specifics are shein va'ayin. So shein va'ayin in media achrini loy. Only the eye and the tooth, but that's nothing else. So my answer is no, you don't have that. It says lachavshi yishalchenu. He goes out for free. It doesn't say what he goes out for free with. So because of a klal, that goes back into a rule. So now it's not a klal uprat. Now it changed into a klal uprat uklal, which changes the rule, right? Klal uprat uklal. Iyatadon ela ke'ena prat. When you have a rule and then a specific thing and then a rule again, then you only darshan it. Then you say it doesn't have to be specific to the prat, which in this case is shein v'ayin. It has to be anything that's similar. Ma prat mefurish mum shabagoli ve'enechayzim. What is the prat? Is that it's a mum shabagoli, meaning it's revealed like an eye and a tooth. Ve'enechayzim, and they don't come back. Afkol mumin shabagoli ve'enechayzim. So any type of mum that's revealed and it doesn't come back is included. Okay, so I'm going to ask, Ima prat mefurish mumin shabagoli ubatum imalachtoi ve'enechayzim. So maybe the prat it's mumin shabagoli, has to be revealed. It's bottom in belachtoi, meaning it stops working, and it's not going to come back. So afkol mumen shabagoli ve'enechayzer or bottom in belachtoi. Then any limb that meets these qualifications should make him go free. Then Allah matanya. Why do we learn in the Brisa? Tolash beziknoi, if he pulls his beard, fidildo by etzem, and by pulling the beard, he how do you call it? He messes up with the bone in the chin. Right? He pulls his beard and he yanks his whole face, and then he did something that the jaw or so went out of socket or something like that. So every yotzim and lecheres, he goes out for cheres. Now, why should he go out for cheres? It's not what is he not going to be able to do because of this? Meaning, what function is this thing causing? So my answer is lachavshi yishalchenu ribuyihu. So now the way Rashi explains it, it's lachavshi yishalchenu. He goes out for free is actually a ribuy, and it changes it from a klal uprado klal to a ribuy miyut and ribuy, which we had a few blot ago, right? So therefore, it's going to say that it's going to limit it. It's not going to be as broad as a klal or product klal. Riboy miyat riboy is more specific. So then when it says v'iribuyu, so if it's a riboy, afilu ukel al yadiv etzimtza v'sayfa lachsarnami, Even if you hit him in his hand and the hand gets shrunken, and it's going to come back also, right? You should also go free, meaning that's no different than the jaw. Allah Matani, why do we learn the Braisa? He hits him on his hand, and the hand gets what do we say? It gets shrinks, and then it comes back. Ein eved yaitze ba l'cheres. He doesn't go l'cheres. Why not? Because it's going to come back. But l'maisa, it should be no different than the jaw. So what it answers, im kain shein v'ayin maya hanile. I can't say understand this teretz. If so, then why is the pasuk even saying shein v'ayin? Anything, right? It should be anything then, right? So shein v'ayin has to be coming to exclude something. So therefore, it's going to exclude a shrunken hand. But otherwise, really, it should be included if it's a ribui miyut and a ribui. Fine. Okay, new Gemara now. Toner Rabbanan, Bekulam, Eved Yotze Ben L'Cheres. In all these cases, the Eved goes out to Cheres. B'tzarach get shichra, but he still needs that get shichra. Meaning, if the Eved, an accident happens and the Eved loses his eye, loses his finger, etc., he goes out. He's going out, but he also needs to receive the get shichra. Dir Reb Shimon, Rameir, ain't it tzarach. Reb Elazar, I'm a tzarach. Reb Tarfon, ain't it tzarach. Reb Akiva, I'm a tzarach. And the machriyim, lefnei chachamim, machriyim are the ones that the deciders. I think that's the way to say it. Machriyim means they decide between different opinions. So the machriyim, chachamim, oimrim, nirin divrei Reb Tarfon b'shein v'ayin. Reb Tarfon, by shein v'ayin, it seems like Reb Tarfon is correct that you don't need a star. Because the Torah is the one that says shein v'ayin. So the Torah says if the tooth or the eye gets busted, so then you go out. You don't need a star. But by other Eivarim, then Rebbe Kiva seems right that you do need a star. Why? Since it's just the knas of the chachamim. So what it says, knasu kroi kadashin. It's not a knas. We darshan a pasuk that tells it to us. It's minat Torah. It's not just a knas. Ella hayel medrash chachamim who. So he's saying since it's a medrash of the chachamim, therefore it's not beferish in the Torah. Shein v'ayin is beferish in the Torah. The Eved goes out. So therefore you don't need a star. But the other 22 items are considered like it's not considered beferish in the Torah, and therefore you have to give him a star. My time with Reb Shimon. Why do you need a star? Yolef shiluach mi isha. We learn out sending out from isha ma isha b'shtar. Just like an isha, when you send her away, she needs a star. She needs a get. Av evenami b'shtar, and Eved also needs a star. For a mayor, and how can a mayor holds that you don't need because of chafshi l'pesoif kedagamrit. If it would say chafshi at the end, so then you would say then it would be fine. That would tell you, meaning he goes out free. Hashda the cost of la chafshi yishalchenu, but the pasuk says for free he gets sent out. Havale chafshi meikar. It means that he's free, finished, right? Fine. So then Torah Rabbanon, hiko al einoi v'samur. Now, a new thing. He hits him on his eye and he makes him blind. Al oznoi v'charsha. He hits him on his ear and he makes him deaf. Eved yaitze ben l'cheres. The Eved goes out to cheres. Right? Because again, he's talking about where he hit him in the eye, hit him in the ear, but they didn't fall off. Right? So the eye stopped working and the ear stopped working, but they didn't fall off. He still goes out. But let's say he only hits him near the eye, but not on the eye. Or next to the ear, and he doesn't hear. Then the Eved does not go out for cheres. Yeah. So meaning again, the difference is the first one is he hits him on the actual eye and the actual ear, and the second one he does not. So Amar Rav Shamar Rav Ashi, remember the kol lav klumu. Are you trying to say that a kol is nothing? Right? Vatani Rami by Yecheskel Tarnagol Sheheshit Rashil Avir Kli Schuchas. Let's say a rooster sticks its head into the avir of a Kli Schuchas, meaning he sticks his head into a glass, the takabai vishavrai, and he makes a loud noise, and we know that a loud noise breaks glass, right? A high pitched noise, I think, breaks glass. So now, is your rooster responsible? Are you responsible to pay for your rooster's damage? So Gemara says, Mashalim Nezek Shalim. He pays Nezek Shalim. Right? That's a big machlokes in Baba Kama, whether it's called Tsroiris. Right? Is this Tsroiris or not? Is this called pebbles? What's your problem, Gershon? Not talking? Okay. So fine. So there's the question whether you should pay nezek shalim or chatzi nezek when an animal does indirect damage, which an animal, a tarnagal, making a noise and breaking is an indirect damage. So according to this first shita, it has to pay if your rooster goes and breaks somebody's glass by making noise. You have to pay nezek shalim. If you have a sus, a horse that made noise, or a chamor, or a donkey that did, and then they broke kalim with their voices, misham chatzi nezek. They pay chatzi nezek. That's like the other shita, that they only pay chatzi nezek because it's tzroidus. Whatever it is, you see that you're responsible for the damage, even though that damage was not direct to the glass. It was a noise that broke the glass. It was a noise that broke the kalim. So how come you're saying that the eved doesn't go free if you hit him near the ear and you hit him near the eye, and that causes him to go blind or deaf? So he says this next teretz, Amar Lei, we could sit, if we didn't fight about other stuff, tonight stuff, we could really fight on this one. Amar Lei, no, Aaron, don't worry. Amar Lei, I'm missing the next Meyer, so I'm pushing through to the 10-10 now. So Amar Lei, watch out. 10-10 is the next. Amar Lei, Shani Adam, a person is different. Kivan debar dasu, iu mivis nafshe. He's the one that messed himself up. He scared himself. You hear this? This guy comes, right, and scares a guy. He makes this huge, loud noise near his ear and causes his hearing to go, totally lose his hearing. We're saying the guy is not responsible. Why? Because you shouldn't have been scared. You're a human. You have control over your body. This is good for a Yom Naroim. A human is supposed to have superhuman control over the body. You shouldn't have been so freaked out by the noise. And this that you were, that means that you gave in to your whatever. And Mamela, this guy's not responsible. That's the way I understand the teretz. An animal is not meant to control his emotions. A human has to. I don't know if it's emotions. I don't know if emotions is the right word. But a human has to. So therefore, he is not responsible. Kidatanya, Amavis is chaveroi, somebody who scares his friend, and Mamela, he causes him damage. Potem midin Adam, v'chai midin shamayim. He's potem midin Adam, v'chai midin shamayim. Ketzad, talk about oznei v'charsha. If somebody did a tekiah into somebody's ear and he made him deaf, potter, he's potter. But achzo v'talk about oznei v'charshu. But if he grabbed onto the guy and blew it in his ear, then he's chayiv. All right, so you see that if you grab him and you force him, so you didn't have a choice. But if you didn't grab him, then it's not a problem. But you chayiv in dinei shamayim, right? Lamashal, a guy asked me this week. He was driving and he said it was his fault. He was either driving in the wrong lane or whatever it is, and the guy on the opposite side had to swerve out of the way and totaled his car. The guy, Baruch Hashem, is okay, but he totaled his car. What is the responsibility of the guy who was driving in the wrong lane? Nothing. Right? Me'ekara did nothing. It's a grama. Right? I'm saying he didn't do cause of direct thing, even though it was totally his fault. Totally his fault. Right? Same thing here. If a guy blows a shofar in a guy's ear, it's not, unless he grabbed him. If he grabbed him, it's a problem. If he didn't grab him, he's chayiv b'dinei shamayim. So of course, I told the guy asked me, I have no idea who the guy is, and he texted me and I said, listen, according to halacha, you're not responsible. He says, could we call you to figure out exactly what we should do about this? And I said, absolutely not. I don't know the first thing about it. I have no idea what to tell you, what you should do, you shouldn't do. Dinei shamayim, I have no idea. Right, but but you see that's basically very difficult to understand. The mice is very difficult to understand. but it's a grama. Fine. Tanraban. If he hit him on his eye, and his eye got shvach, but he's not totally blind. Right? So the Eved got hit, that slave got hit on his eye. Now he can't see well. He did permanent damage, but in the Maisa he can still see. Al Shino even another, or he hit his tooth, and the tooth was loose, but it didn't fall out. So right? If he can use it now, Ein Eved Yotze Ben L'Cheres, he doesn't go out. V'im Lav, Eved Yotze Ben L'Cheres. But if not, then he does go out L'Cheres. Right? That's case number one. Tanya Idach. Let's say his eyesight was already bad, and you finished him off and made him blind. And he had a very loose tooth, and you came along and knocked it out. If he was able to use it before, so then Eved Yotze Ben L'Cheres, the Eved goes out. He doesn't go out. Right? Yeah, so the tzricha and we need both cases. Right? Now, what do you mean you need both cases? Right? Is that because they're both saying that if in the first case, the guy could still see, but theoretically, if the guy couldn't see, so he'd be out. Right? So why do we need two cases to say that once the guy can't see, he goes free? Before he was he had a healthy sight. Now he has bad sight. But here but in the second case, where his sight was very schwach, I would say not. Whenever you say the second case, the Maisa, he made the guy totally blind. In the first case, the loy sami legamri, he didn't make him totally blind. So I'd say not. So tzricha. Therefore, you need both cases. Okay, let's go a few more lines. Let's say the master, the boss, was a doctor, and the Eved comes to him and says, "Hey, I got some issues, and can you take care of me?" Right? And he told him, do something for his eye. It really means to put some sort of medicine on his eye. So the doctor does it, V'sama, and he blinded him. So we're looking at a big lawsuit, but the bottom line is, can the Eved go free? And he asked him to sort of do something to the tooth, and it fell out. So sichik ba'adain, he can go laugh at his master, and he goes out, according to the Tanakama. Right? Because at the end of the day, the boss made him blind or knocked out his teeth. And it says, and he has to destroy it. He has to have kavanah to destroy him. Meaning, when you bust him in the face and his tooth falls out or his eye goes blind, so he was looking to give him damage. Here, he was actually looking to improve him, and it went awry. It didn't work out that way, but he's going to still be responsible. Rabbanan, what do they do with V'shichasami? By look the Tanya. They need it for a different case. Let's say a guy, the boss, sticks his hands inside the womb of his shifcha v'sima uber shememea, and then he makes the fetus blind. Potter, he's potter. My time, until he has kavana to do destruction. Right? Meaning he wasn't looking to bust this fetus's eye. So therefore, he's fine. Now I understand. So Akiva, maybe you have a shot in this. So let's say they're playing basketball, right? And he gets an elbow to the face of the Eved, and the Eved loses his sight. Is that considered that he was looking to destroy him? Maybe. You want to say that in basketball? I mean, does it have to be done on purpose? From this, it's mashma that it has to be done on purpose, according to both opinions. Right? If it's an accident, it's mashma not like that. I don't know. V'idach, we have a shichas onafka. We learn it out for shichas. So v'idach, shichas loy darish. Right? We don't dash in that. Should we go? Okay, let's do. Well, I'm sorry, it's late, but let's do a few more lines. Let's get to this. Finish the sugya. Right? let's say he was already blind, and then the boss came and knocked the eye out, meaning he had an eye there but just couldn't see. Then he comes and knocks out the actual eye. So he goes out l'cheres my time and mechusar aver, because now he's mechusar aver. The Tana Tuna, we have a Tana to prove this. Thomas b'zachros b'behema. There's such a thing as being a complete animal when you're going to be makar b'korban. You need it to be complete. That's by a male. So it has to be complete, and it also has to be a male by behema. But we don't care about it by birds. A bird does not have to. A bird could have a mum, and it could also be a female. Yochol. So if that's the case, that a bird could have a mum for a korban, so yochol yavsha gapa, if its wings dried up, or nikta ragla, or his wings got cut, nechta ta'ena, or he lost his eye totally. So you think you could bring that as a korban too? From ifas, but not every eye. So you see that the eye falling out makes it ineligible to be a korban, even though normally a bird with a mum does have a problem. Does not have a problem, but if its eye falls out, it does. So it's the same thing with an eved. If he had on Tamar Aleph now, let's say he had an extra finger. He had a sixth finger, and it got cut off. So now that the sixth finger got cut off, so he has 5 fingers. He's like a regular person. So should he go out or not? Eved Yotze ben L'Cheres. So the Eved goes out to Cheres, even though that sixth finger was extra in the first place. You're only going to go out for free if that sixth finger was in the same row of the hand. Meaning, if it was in a different part of the hand, and that's a freak thing, and if it comes off, that doesn't make him abnormal. So if he's not going to go out. So again, if he has an extra finger, if it's lined up with the rest of the fingers and he loses it, and then he goes out free. But if it's in a different spot in the hand, then he does not go out free. Okay, we will stop here. Sorry for going a little late. Everybody should have themselves a fine night.
Yaakov, my niece actually had a sixth finger.